Most drivers walk into a shop expecting clear, necessary recommendations. And often, that's exactly what they get. But not every suggestion carries the same urgency as it seems. What often goes unnoticed is that many services are based on routine patterns, not always your car's immediate condition. In this video, we'll go through 15 common situations like this, so you can better understand how these decisions unfold and approach them with more clarity. Scam number 15. Cabin air filter replacement timing. During a routine visit, it's common for a technician to pull out your cabin air filter and show it to you. It often looks dusty or clogged, and the reaction is immediate. It feels like something that needs to be fixed right away. But that appearance can be misleading. Cabin air filters are designed to collect dirt, pollen, and debris from the outside air. Seeing buildup on the surface usually means it's doing its job, not failing. The effect on airflow doesn't happen all at once. It reduces slowly over time, which is why manufacturers give a mileage range for replacement rather than relying on visual condition alone. What often gets missed in that moment is whether the filter has actually reached that interval. Because the evidence is right in front of you, it's easy to respond quickly. But stepping back and checking the recommended schedule can help you decide more confidently, instead of reacting to how it looks. Scam number 14. Engine air filter concerns. When the hood is opened and the engine air filter is pulled out, the explanation can sound serious, something like the engine struggling to get enough air. It's easy to picture, and it often leads to a quick decision. But in reality, a slightly dirty air filter doesn't immediately affect how the engine runs. Modern engines are designed to adjust, sensors monitor airflow, and make small corrections to keep performance stable, even with some restriction. What happens over time is gradual, not sudden. Fuel efficiency may shift slightly, but it's not an instant problem. Guidance from U.S. Department of Energy also notes that replacing an air filter mainly helps when it is significantly clogged, not just lightly used. The concern often comes from how the situation is presented, not how the system behaves. What matters more is whether you notice changes while driving, and whether the filter has reached its recommended interval. Scam number 13. Oil type upgrade. During an oil change, it's common for the service to be upgraded without much discussion, often presented as a better or safer option. That can sound reasonable, especially when the higher price suggests better protection. But what matters most is using the oil that matches your engine's design. Each vehicle requires a specific grade and specification, and factors like viscosity and standards determine performance, not the price or branding. The confusion usually comes from not knowing what your car actually needs. When that's unclear, the upgrade feels like the safer choice. In reality, using the correct oil from the manual is what keeps the engine properly protected. Scam number 12. Coolant service frequency. Coolant often gets flagged during routine checks when its color looks different than expected. It may be described as worn out based on appearance alone, which can make it seem overdue for replacement. But coolant doesn't fail just because its color changes. As it ages, its composition can shift slightly, and that can affect how it looks without immediately reducing its effectiveness. Modern coolants are built to last much longer than older types. The confusion comes from older service habits still being applied today. What matters more is the manufacturer's recommended mileage or time interval, not just appearance. Scam number 11. Power steering fluid concerns. During a routine check, you might be shown power steering fluid that looks dark and is described as burnt. It sounds concerning, but in many cases, that color change is simply normal aging. These systems are mostly sealed, so the fluid isn't heavily exposed to contamination. Over time, heat can cause slight oxidation, which changes the color without immediately affecting performance. What matters more is how the steering feels. If it's smooth and quiet, that often tells you more than appearance alone. Looking at function, not just color, helps you make a clearer decision. Scam number 10. Early spark plug replacements. Spark plugs are sometimes recommended for replacement earlier than expected, which can feel routine. That idea mostly comes from older vehicles. Modern engines use materials like platinum or iridium, designed to last much longer than traditional plugs. In many cases, they can go well beyond older service intervals without affecting performance. Replacing them too early usually doesn't add any real benefit. It simply adds cost. The confusion comes from applying older maintenance habits to newer systems. Without knowing the type of spark plugs in your car, it's easy to assume frequent replacement is needed. In reality, lifespan depends on the material and design, not just mileage. Scam number 9. Timing belt versus timing chain confusion. One of the more expensive recommendations you might hear involves the timing system, often presented as a routine replacement. The challenge is that not all vehicles use the same setup, and the terms can sound similar enough to create confusion. A timing belt is made of rubber and designed to wear over time, which means it does need periodic replacement. A timing chain, on the other hand, is built from metal and is intended to last much longer, often for the life of the engine under normal conditions. The issue arises when these two are treated as if they require the same maintenance. Because the distinction isn't always explained clearly, it's easy to agree to a service that may not apply to your vehicle at all. Most drivers aren't familiar with which system their car uses, and that gap in knowledge can lead to unnecessary work. Taking a moment to verify the setup shifts the decision from assumption to clarity. Up to this point, most of these situations are fairly easy to step back from. But once your car is already in the shop, the dynamic changes. Decisions start happening in the middle of the process, not before it. And in those moments, it's not always obvious how much flexibility you actually have. If this kind of explanation is helpful, you can consider subscribing for more simple, practical breakdowns. Scam number 8. While we're here, add-ons. This situation usually comes up after you've already approved a repair. You get a call saying that while working on the car, something else was noticed. It's often explained as convenient to fix, now since the area is already accessible. That reasoning sounds practical, and sometimes it is. But not every additional item requires immediate attention. What makes this moment difficult is timing. The car is already in pieces, and you've already committed to the initial service. That creates a subtle pressure to say yes, even without fully thinking it through. It feels easier to handle everything at once rather than come back later. The key is to separate convenience from necessity. Just because something can be done now doesn't always mean it should be. Taking a moment to understand whether the issue is urgent or simply optional can help you make a more balanced decision. Scam number 7. Advertised price differences. It's common to see very low prices advertised for basic services like oil changes. These offers are designed to get your attention, and they often do. But once the car is inspected, the final cost can look quite different from what you expected. The reason is that the advertised price usually covers only the most basic version of the service. Things like specific oil types, filters, or additional checks may not be included. As those items are added, the total increases. The misunderstanding happens when the initial price is taken as the full cost. In reality, it's more of a starting point. What helps here is asking for a clear breakdown before the work begins. Understanding what's included and what's optional allows you to make decisions with fewer surprises later. Scam number 6. Brake service recommendation. Brake-related recommendations tend to feel urgent, and that's understandable. When something involves safety, it's natural to take it seriously. But brake wear doesn't happen all at once. It develops gradually and can be measured accurately. Instead of relying on general descriptions, the condition of the brakes can be expressed in numbers, usually in millimeters of pad thickness. This provides a clearer picture of how much life is left and whether replacement is truly needed right now. The challenge is that words like worn or low can sound more urgent than they actually are without context. When there's no measurement provided, it becomes harder to judge the situation objectively. Asking for those numbers helps shift the focus from interpretation to clarity, making it easier to decide based on actual condition rather than assumption. Scam number 5. Parts replacement transparency. When a repair involves replacing parts, most of the work happens out of sight. You're trusting that what's installed matches what you're being charged for. In many cases, it does. But there's an important distinction that isn't always clearly explained: new parts versus remanufactured ones. Both options can be perfectly acceptable depending on the situation. Remanufactured parts are restored to working condition and often cost less. New parts come at a higher price, but offer a different level of assurance. The issue arises when that difference isn't communicated clearly. Without that context, it's easy to assume everything being installed is brand new. That assumption can lead to confusion later, especially when comparing costs. What helps here is simple awareness. Knowing that different types of parts exist and that they should be reflected in the price, allows you to understand what you're paying for more clearly. Scam number 4. Inspection result. Interpretation. After a routine inspection, it's not uncommon to receive a list of recommended services. Sometimes it's short, but often it includes several items, each described in a way that makes it sound important. Seeing multiple recommendations at once can make everything feel urgent. In reality, those items don't all carry the same priority. Some may need attention soon, while others can wait for months without causing issues. The difficulty is that this distinction isn't always made clear when everything is presented together. When too much information comes at once, it becomes harder to process and easier to agree without sorting through it. Breaking that list into categories, what needs attention now, what can wait, and what is simply worth monitoring, can make a big difference. It turns a broad recommendation into a clearer set of choices. Scam number 3. Engine cleaning services. Engine cleaning or flushing is sometimes suggested as a way to keep things running smoothly. It's often presented as a preventive step, which makes it sound like a responsible choice. But whether it's useful depends on how the engine has been maintained over time. In engines that have received regular oil changes, internal buildup is usually minimal. In those cases, cleaning may not provide much benefit. In older engines, some deposits can actually settle into a stable condition. Removing them suddenly may not always lead to better results. The assumption that cleaning is always helpful doesn't account for these differences. Each situation is a bit more specific than it first appears. Understanding that helps shift the decision from routine action to something based on actual condition, rather than a general recommendation. Scam number 2. Major component replacement. Misdiagnosis risk. This is one of the more serious situations a driver can face. You're told that a major component, like the engine or transmission, needs replacement, and the cost is significant. At that point, it can feel like the only option, but many symptoms can overlap. Issues like rough shifting or warning lights don't always point to one specific failure. In some cases, smaller components can create similar behavior. That's part of why this situation can be difficult to assess in the moment. In one survey, about half of drivers said they were recommended repairs that weren't actually needed at the time. Taking a step back and getting a second opinion can bring more clarity before committing to a major decision. Scam number 1. Diagnostic awareness. Foundation concept. At the center of many repair decisions is a starting point that most drivers never see clearly: diagnostic information. When a warning light comes on, the vehicle stores a code that helps identify where the issue may be coming from. That information is standardized and not limited to one shop. In many cases, drivers rely entirely on how that information is interpreted for them. But the codes themselves are accessible, and understanding even the basics can make a difference. They don't provide a complete answer, but they do point in a direction. What matters is that this initial step shapes everything that follows. The explanation you receive, the parts that are checked, and the recommendations that come next all begin here. When you start with a clearer picture, it becomes easier to follow the process and make decisions with more confidence. The bottom line: most of these situations aren't about intent. They come from routine habits, general guidelines, or decisions made without full context. Over time, small choices like these can quietly add up. The difference is understanding how these recommendations are presented and taking a moment to evaluate them. That shift helps you move from reacting in the moment to making more deliberate decisions. If this kind of explanation is useful, you can subscribe for more simple, practical insights. With a bit of awareness, knowing what to question and when to proceed can make a lasting difference in how you manage both your car and your costs.